Hi, I'm Tony Zizzo, the present owner of this Avenger car here. We call it the Avenger, but back in the 70s when it was built by Jerry Westhouse and Trailer Engineering, obviously it was called something else. What was it, Jerry?
We named it the Bold Attempt, and that was kind of my name for it because it was a bold attempt at the time. Everybody was running. This particular car was like the 19th rear-engine dragster?
The 17th rear-engine dragster built 17th. Since Garlett's chopped up his legs.
Right. So it was a big switch from what we were running front-engine cars. So we called it the Bold Attempt at that time.
And it was a little bit shorter than it is right now. The car was
230 inches. And
230
right now
inches is, my Ferrari's longer than 230 inches, okay? So I don't know how these guys drove back then, and Jerry will tell you a little bit about how he drove the car and what it used to do. Go ahead, Jerry, tell him what happened with the car.
Well, one of the things is that we did a different combination. We had back in that day, Goodyear had just come out with a funny car tire, and Bill wanted to run this big tire. So we were running a glide, and everybody else was running a foot clutch, standard clutch, and so we had nothing but tire shake problems, and it was just a constant every time. I think in the full year that I drove the car at basically UDRA and IHRA races, we probably made 7 or 8 full passes because the thing just shook. We had a Lenco 2-speed in it, and we just never got it dialed in, and it's too bad. And I only drove the car with the body on it one time, and it was at Bristol, Tennessee at the IHRA race.
Yeah, and the car was a little bit shorter, like he said.
And
when I took possession of the car, it didn't have an engine in it at all, okay? And I didn't know anything about Chrysler motors back then. I always ran Chevrolets in all my cars, and I was partners with Al DiPozo with Chevrolet motors. So I put a Chevrolet motor in this thing. Well, I got it to go down the track, okay, but the body was always 200 pounds too heavy for an alcohol-burning Chevrolet motor. Mm-hmm. So over the years, I sold the car because in all reality, to make it blunt, it was an ill-handling, uncomfortable piece of junk, okay? It really was, back in the days in the 1970s, compared to what we do today in the modern cars, okay? So what I did is I said, this car's not for me. I sold the car, kept the body, the fiberglass body, which was candy apple red back then, kept it, hung it from my ceiling. I said, someday I'm gonna do something with it. 30 years later, the guy I sold the car to calls me and says, I think I still have your old car. I said, well, where are you, in California? He says, no, I'm in Rosemont, Illinois. I said, I'll be right there. So it was kind of a little bit of a mistake for me to get involved, but end result is we got something cool. So I went there, cool. I saw the car. It had a Chevrolet motor in it still. I said, yank that Chevrolet junk out of there, okay, and I'll come and pick up the chassis and the conventional body that came with it that looked like a regular dragster. So I picked it up, brought it home, and brought it to our new body shop over there, and about 1,000 hours later, okay, I was able to kind of get the car ready for some kind of body work. So my friend Mike from Black Dog Racing came by and says, I could do this. I says, okay. So he lengthened the body, did all the body work on it and stuff, and we got it to look like it does today, okay, which is probably at least 40 inches longer than it used to be.
Yeah.
So it should handle a little bit better. The great news is, here's the great news of this whole story is that I still fit in this ill-handling, uncomfortable piece of junk car, okay? I can still fit in it.
So do I.
So we can still kind of drive it, okay, as a nostalgia rear-engine dragster. And that's what class it's going to be, a nostalgia rear-engine dragster. I don't believe I want to take a 1972 chassis and run it for 1,320 feet in the nostalgia class, but it'd be nice for an 8th mile car. Do some great burnouts, exhibition type racing.
Definitely.
So it's kind of cool story that we resurrected in
Yes.
1972, which back then was kind of like not such a cool state-of-the-art car. Okay, I want to put it.
No.
I don't want to say that.
No.
You guys back then were like
Screwed up.
Stone Age. Okay, you guys were Stone Age. You didn't know.
Well, I'm a little older than you, so I was cutting edge at the time. But
cutting edge?
Yeah, cutting edge.
When I got the car,
you're looking at it from a different, from rose-colored glasses a little bit.
Well, I'm looking at it as what it's supposed to be,
Yes,
what it's
right,
supposed
right.
to go
I
down
agree
the
with
track,
you 100%.
how fast it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
So I was very disappointed when I put this body on this car.
Okay.
Okay, I went down the track, it was 200 pounds too heavy.
Right. It was heavy, and that was a big
200 pounds
disadvantage.
too heavy. So when I got back home, I said, you know, this Chevrolet thing's got to go.
Yeah.
So we ended up putting. It didn't have a big hole in there with ejectors sticking
No.
out when you guys
No,
had it.
no.
Okay, if you had a top fuel motor in it,
Yeah.
and a top fuel motor ejector was down here somewhere.
Inside.
So it was sucking air from wherever it was sucking air
We
from.
just had some openings in this area right here that it would.
But the problem
Hopefully-
was, the thing is so aerodynamic, and they did a great job in that department.
Yeah.
Dave Stuckey did a great
Yeah,
job
yes,
in
he
that
did.
department. He recently passed away, by the way. But the air would come up the windshield and right over the injector like this. So I was getting nowhere. So the car would leave the starting line really well, and then by the end, it got to the end of the quarter mile, it looked like it was going to die, so I just shut it off. I thought maybe it went lean or something. So we put the injector up here with the Chevrolet motor and did all that stuff, and that wasn't working either. So I scrapped the whole project. I said, you know what? Get out, keep the body. Maybe I'll build a Bonneville soft flat car out of it
Yeah,
someday.
you talked about that,
something
yeah.
like that in that
Right.
order. So we
Right.
got rid of the car, got it back, and when I got it back, like my son says, you've got a lot of hours in that car, kid. And I get to the point where, yes, I have a lot of hours on it, but Black Dog Racing, Mike with all the body work and stuff,
It has more.
he has a lot more into it, and we'll raise the body up later on, and it'll be kind of
Yeah,
cool when you
but
see the engine.
it's spectacular now. It's well above when it was when I had it, when we built the car.
The only reason, Jerry, that it's black, okay, like kind of like a flat black,
I know
kinda
that.
like that. Can I tell you the real
Oh, yeah,
reason
yeah,
for it?
yeah.
The
Why?
real reason is
It's me.
because no,
It looks
no,
mean.
no, I don't care about that
Okay.
part. I'm afraid that I'm going to run this car for the first time, and something stupid's going to happen. Okay,
you're
for
gonna-
instance, I'm going down the track and all of a sudden the body blows off the
Yeah,
car.
right. That'd be stupid.
well, if it was candy apple red, I'd be crying about it, right? It's going to be candy apple red, but I want to test drive the car a little bit first and make sure it runs down the track. Make
Yep.
sure somebody does do something stupid like
Right,
forget to
right.
latch the front end and scratches the car, and I would cry a little bit, you know,
Right.
or kick somebody's ass, one or the other, all right? But now, it being black like this, I'll just take a spray can and touch it up.
There you go.
And then when I work out all of the bugs,
And-
it will be
And
candy
we
apple
both
red
know that
again.
you won't just take a spray can. It'll go to the body shop.
And we'll go back to the body shop.
It'll be.
We've already had to
beautiful.
do that. We've
Yes.
already painted it 3 times.
Right.
I haven't
And-
even driven
and it'll
it yet.
be beautiful.
So what I'm getting at is, when the time comes, we'll paint a candy apple red like it's supposed
There
to
you
be. The name will be on the side of it, an
Right.
8-foot long Avenger on the side of it, and then it'll be ready for exhibition race.
There you go.
But right now, I just want to shake it down. Let's shake it down. Let's
I
see
think
if it
that's
even
a
goes
great
down
idea.
track.
I'm with you on that.
Let's see if we can blow the heads off the car. We'll see if we can blow the heads off the car with
I'm
a
with you
nitro
on that.
motor in it, you know?
Okay.
Thank you, Amy.
I just remember who this boy was, the one had with the long black hair.
Let's start trying to get it over here.
I don't know, you'll have to see, because I have him on the video, so. and then I think-
Delivery in 79.
The head is usually come out right here.
Is able
Hi, I'm Mike from Black Dog Speed Shop. I've known Tony for a million years, and when he brought me over to his race shop to take a look at this Avenger body, it was a little past sad, and I signed up to go ahead and do the restoration on the body at my shop, do all the fiberglass work and the initial straightening of this thing. There's a lot of the original body left, but it was bad enough that a lot of it had to be cut away and re-glassed with new forms and new shapes and re-body worked. And a year and several months later, I finally showed back up with it at his shop on a trailer. And even with that, we still had to do a lot of fine-tuning, a lot of tweaking. That thing has been blocked so many times and re-primed, and we finally got it to where it was presentable. And now there it sits on the car, and it's way better than it was in its old glory days. Because even when it was new, it wasn't all that straight. But the work paid off. There was a lot of evenings where it looked like it snowed on me. I was just covered with fiberglass and dust and everything, and itched and scratched a lot for a good year and some months. But it paid off. It's a pretty slick looking piece. There isn't another one like it. and we're kind of proud of that thing. It looks pretty nice.
Okay, I'd like to introduce you to Patty Traylor, Bill Traylor's wife. And Bill Traylor was my mentor and my partner at the time. And this is Mark Traylor. And we built the car that we've looked at earlier and talked about in 1973. Dave Stuckey built it in Wichita, Kansas. And it was Dave Stuckey because Bill was from Wichita. And they had a connection, and he worked with Bill a lot, so that's why Dave got involved in it and built it. He designed the body, and let me introduce you to Patty, and she can give us some memories.
So how was that experience during the build?
During building the car, well, I was pretty much a housewife and mother.
True.
So I worked at the
You were
shop.
all the support behind
Yes,
it. You
I
were the
was.
support. You took care of the home front.
And I did get involved in the shop and did the bookwork and came down a lot and was involved in that part of it. But Bill did all the, he was the mastermind in the whole
Yes, he was.
shop.
Yes, he was.
So, but
And Mark obviously was way too young,
yeah,
but he does have some memories.
this is
I
Bill's son.
I remember sitting in the car, when I was about 5, 4. But,
It was 1973.
yeah, and but I used to come to the shop and sweep the floor and beg to go to the old shop to go look at the cars all the time because we had the Atlantic car in there and the Streamliner in there. And so, I mean, my memories of the shop and around the car and stuff were always some of my strongest memories.
So what's it like down here today?
Oh, it's
Bringing back a lot of
wonderful.
memories, I bet.
It's really
Obviously.
wonderful. It's wonderful that this many people remember Bill and what he was about, and the shop and trailer engineering, and it was our life. So it was a lot of people's lives, and we miss him terribly.